off the debuts of Talk About and The Last Word. This show also debuted alongside those shows, but is notable for two very different things. Those being a lawsuit, and also the last show hosted by Marshall-Convy, and the last show being produced by Bert and Bert Productions. So, 3 things instead of 2. Sorry. So, let's talk about the third degree.
Dorothy and Spencer have a special relationship, and our celebrities will try to find out what it is by giving them the third degree. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the host of our show, Bert Convy.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Thank you and welcome to Third Degree.
Third Degree was an interesting panel show that launched on the same day as the trio of Jackpot, Talk About, and The Last Word. Produced by Bert and Bert Productions and Klein and Friends, this panel show featured 4 celebrities and 2 teams of 2 based on gender, trying to guess the relationship that the 2 contestants have. It doesn't sound that bad, but what it does sound like is that it's a complete lift of the 50s Goods and Todman effort, Make the Connection. We'll talk about the similarities and differences in a bit, but we have some controversy to talk about with this show. When the show was being piloted back in 1988, Bert Convy wasn't the original choice for host. The original choice for host was this guy.
Gee, you've been real busy. You've been traveling around the country doing various plays and singing.
I did Lacage for 3 years. Lacage au Foot.
On Broadway as well, right?
Yes, I did for a year on Broadway.
Which
and
is
I
neat. Yeah, that's
got back from Florida. And I've got to get back on TV. They think I'm Gene Rayburn.
No, you do have a new show coming out.
I have a new show. It's called Third Degree. It's from Bert and Bert. Those guys are so rich.
Yeah, yes.
And Warner Brothers and Richard Klein. And it's a terrific new show called Third Degree. It's a panel show, and I hope you'll be watching it. We'll be on in September.
It's good. We look forward to it. And
Thank
you so much for being with us.
That's right. Peter Marshall was originally slated to be the host of Third Degree. And he shot the pilot, and when he did, he said that in his contract that he would be able to host the show when it made to air. So when 1989 happened, I'm assuming around the summer of 1989, Bert Convy swooped in and said he's going to host the show himself. Now, what really irked Peter about this, that if Bert actually told him face to face that he was going to do the show himself and just pay off the contract, it would have been fine. But instead, Bert went sheepish and instead took a couple of people from Telepictures to Peter Marshall's house and had them told Peter instead. This infuriated Peter Marshall to beyond belief. And in doing so, he sued Bert and Bert Productions to the tune of $1 million over this, because he had a legitimate contract. Now, this went on and on for a while, but the lawsuit got dropped when an unfortunate news article broke. In April of 1990, Bert Convy was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, so he was likely on death's door. Peter Marshall felt bad for Bert Convy's kids, notably his daughter, and because the lawsuit pretty much wiped away all the savings, he decided to drop the lawsuit. It's a really sad tale, and if you can find the 2 articles, one of them being an Evening Magazine video clip talking about this lawsuit, and different game show hosts, including Rob Weller saying he's not going to be the next Rolf Panershka. And there's also an interview of Peter Marshall done by some television expert. I'm blanking on the name right now. He does talk more about this incident, and well as the other person he hates a lot, Dan Rowan. So now with that out of the way, let's actually talk about the show itself that made air. With Marshall being booted by producer Bert Convy, Convy hosted the show himself, leaving Rob Weller to be the host of Win, Lose, or Draw. And trust me, we'll be talking about that ordeal soon enough. On Third Degree, Bert Convy was really good as host of the show. He learned from being on several of them in the 60s and 70s, notably To Tell the Truth and I've Got a Secret. He helped move the show along really well and was a good conduit between celebs and contestants. And the gameplay itself is a derivative of Make the Connection. Here comes the comparisons. In Make the Connection, one panelist questioned the 2 contestants trying to figure out what the connection is between the 2 contestants. If the panelists couldn't figure it out before the 30-second bell rang, the team won $25 and it moved on to the next panelist, until they stumped the panel 6 times and won the maximum of $150. It was an okay derivative of I've Got a Secret, but it also had its problems. For starters, sportscaster Jim McKay was the original host, but he left after 4 shows, leaving the position wide open for Gene Rayburn, who shined as host. Another problem was with the connections themselves. While some were funny, most of them were just boring. Also, the show had the usual ending of having a special celebrity guest at the tail end of the show playing the game when the show really didn't require it whatsoever. It didn't last and was axed after 13 shows due to poor ratings and overall not being a very good show. Third Degree decided to take this concept and modify it. This time, 2 teams of celebs, 1 male team and 1 female team, grilled the contestants for 60 seconds about their connection. If they couldn't figure out the connection, they won $250 and the other team got to ask questions for 60 seconds. After each team got to ask questions and guess wrong, they got another 30 seconds to ask more questions. If each team failed twice to guess the connection, the team won a bonus $1,000 for a total of $2,000. To be honest, I like the modified version more than Make the Connection. The celebrities will usually play off each other and make it a lot more entertaining than just one celebrity grilling them for 30 seconds. What I also like is that in some instances, the contestants would actually go into detail about the connection or show off the connection that they have. One memorable instance was a magician and his assistant getting to saw Bert Convy in half, probably to the delight of Peter Marshall.
Be careful, my mother's in the audience, and she doesn't want to see her son cut in half. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
sir.
Mom, don't worry about it, Mom.
Okay.
Oh, look,
Wait
she's
a minute, wait a minute.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, it's...
Close your hand.
Oh, boy, I'm a little claustrophobic. Oh.
Now, so that you don't change your mind, we have a
Oh, and he's got a
little
hole
stock
in
to
his
put around
shoe.
your
Oh,
feet.
listen, can I be this one? Can I be this one?
What did you say? Oh,
we have another assistant.
Okay.
Now, this is for the
Oh, no.
chin up, chin up, chin up. A little further.
Wait a minute.
There you go. That's good.
This is not...
You've done this before, haven't you?
Very
Huh?
good.
All right.
Somebody had to do it.
You're doing great.
You really are.
Now, just,
Ready?
Bert, the secret here is relax.
What?
Just go with it, all right?
Yeah, wait.
What's the problem?
Would someone get my lawyer on the phone?
Wait a minute, Bert. No.
You've
Not
done
to
this
worry.
before, right?
Just relax. This works most of the time. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. I think we hit some grizzle.
You okay?
You got-
I'm okay.
You're all right. Let's finish the job. And all right.
She can't
All the way
find-
up. Take a deep breath.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Kurt, for a moment.
Hang on, Bert. Tina, just tug on the feet there.
Okay.
All right. Fine. Now. All right, Bert.
Yeah.
We're just going to take a peek and make sure everything's all right in there.
My hand is right there.
Okay, now, Bert, hold on, because you are sewn in half. Yes.
I don't know how
Those
to
are
do
your feet
that.
over there, Bert. Take a look, huh? You did very good, don't you think?
It was a simple and fun game, but failed to capture the audience that Win, Lose, or Draw did. This could be attributed to a glutted 1989 debut market for game shows. It could also be attributed to the changing syndication market. Unfortunately, this will also be the last game show that Bert would host because of his brain tumor diagnosis, forcing him to give up the 1990 Match Game Revival hosting gig to Ross Schaefer when Third Degree was announced to not have been renewed for the 1990 season. On July 15th, 1991, Convy would pass away from the tumor. His legacy stands tall to this day as being one of the greats. And that's Third Degree. I personally liked it, but it's going to go down in history for 2 reasons. 1, the messy lawsuit between Peter Marshall and Bert Convy, and this unfortunately being Bert Convy's last show ever. Next time out, we will talk about Win, Lose, or Draw. Until next time, bye-bye.